guys, my name is Kelly. I'm a traditionally and independently published author, and today I'm going to take and tell you all about my horror life tag answers. This is a tag that I saw on Hey Little Thrifters channel. It was originally on Marie McWilliams. I have filmed this three times in 3 different locations with 3 different lighting and 3 different hairstyles in 3 different days, and y'all, I have deleted every one of them. So if this gets posted, it's a miracle. It's a miracle. Here we go. I'm gonna be looking down so I can see what I'm talking about, so hopefully that doesn't mess things up. And I've not filled up my bookshelf yet. I'm in my new office, but I've not filled up my bookshelf yet. It's coming someday. I have a whole room of books. I just haven't brought them in here. We can say I've been too busy. That's what we'll say. Number 1, what is the first horror movie you remember seeing? If you hear my daughter running, she's running. The first horror movie I ever remember seeing was E.T. And you cannot tell me that was not a horror movie. It was terrifying. It was horrible. I mean, it's a good movie, but it was terrifying. Scared me. I think that movie has scared me more than any other scary movie, actual scary movies that I've ever seen in my life. So, E.T., of course. I don't think that's the answer for this. So, I guess the answer for this would be The Lost Boys. I'm pretty sure The Lost Boys was my first time watching any kind of like scary movie. Also, it's not a movie, but I loved Are You Afraid of the Dark when I was little. It was on Nickelodeon. It was awesome. It was the Midnight Society, and they told ghost stories. I loved it. I loved it, and I hear they're bringing it back like a reboot. I loved Are You Afraid of the Dark, so really that got me into it. Number 2, what was the first horror book you remember reading? The first horror book that I ever read was Interview with a Vampire by Anne Rice. I read it when I was in 8th grade. It was the year Interview with a Vampire, the movie, came out. Please don't do the math to figure out how old I am. But me and my best friend Rosie, we read it we were in 8th grade. We had to go to the 5th grade room while our teacher was the basketball coach, and they had basketball from 2 to 3, and we went to the 5th grade room and we read, and then we went outside with them. So yeah, we read Interview with a Vampire together. Number 3, the movie that made you a horror fan. The movie that made me a horror fan was actually Scream. I loved Scream. I still love Scream. If Scream's on TV, I will watch it. And it came out in what, 96, 97? And when I watched it, I didn't watch it in the theaters. I watched it when it came out on home video. And I didn't know how it ended. I didn't know who the killer was. I had no idea. I wasn't spoiled. Like, it's not like it is now where you can't watch. If you don't watch it the very first show on the very first day, you don't know. You already know who the killer is. I had never seen Star Wars, the new 3 trilogy, until like 2 weeks ago. And I knew all about it. So, you know, things happen. But back then, I didn't know. And I loved Scream. I loved the at the end. So, yeah. Scream. I think that's what made me a horror fan, definitely. Number 4, the book that made you a horror fan. That would have to be Interview with a Vampire again. I loved it. It was so cool to read, and I think it helped. I was reading it with my best friend, and you know, we were kind of into the movie, kind of into Brad Pitt, so that helped a lot too. So that was definitely the book. Number 5, your favorite horror movie of all time. This one was difficult. At first I couldn't think of one, and then I thought of too many. So I'm just going to tell you all of them. One of them was The Haunting. I love The Haunting. I bet nobody has that answer on any of the videos of the tag, of the horror live tag. People probably don't think The Haunting. You know Liam Neeson and Catherine Zeta-Jones? That one. It's not a great movie, but I like Sharknado, so that says a lot about my, you know, taste in movies. But I love The Haunting. It's another one of those movies, if it's on, I'm going to watch it. So, yeah. I also love Psycho, the original one, not the remake of the original one. I love Psycho. I think it's just so eerie and weird and interesting and freaky. So, I love Psycho. That was weird. Freaky. Wonder if I'll leave that in. Probably cut it out. I also love The Birds. The Birds is probably, if I had to rank, would probably be my highest. I just love the birds. And every time you see like a bunch of birds around, you're like, oh no. It still gives you like the goosebumps feeling, like, you know. So the birds, and of course the Lost Boys. Oh, the Lost Boys. I had a Lost Boys marathon, which means I watched the Lost Boys like 7 times in a row a few days ago. So definitely on this list. Number 6, what is your favorite horror book? Now, this book has not been made into a movie. It just came out recently. It's The Chalk Man by C.D. Tudor, and I've heard it compared to It by Stephen King. I've not read It. I've seen both the TV miniseries and the movies. I love It. I think it's a cool story. I love It. I get It vibes from the Chalk Man. I definitely do. The Chalk Man's like this big. It's not very thick at all. So if you like the vibe of It, but you don't want to read It, definitely pick up the Chalk Man. I really enjoyed it. Number 7, what is your favorite horror trope? I love ghost stories. I love reading ghost stories. I love writing ghost stories. I love haunted houses. Haunted houses, I do think, is my favorite. I love like Southern Gothic stories or Gothic stories. Like Wuthering Heights is one of my favorite books, which is not necessarily horror, but I just love like the elements of like all the Southern Gothic or all the Gothic. I love like all the Moors and things like that. The Woman in Black. Woman in Black, if you saw that video where I said the woman in white and Aquarian, just know. The Woman in Black has a lot of that atmosphere and fog and everything to it. I love it. I love it so much. So if you know of a book that has a lot of those elements in it, can you leave it in the comments so I can read it? I can't find enough of them, and it's just my favorite. So if you know any, be sure to let me know. I want to read them. Number 8, why do you love horror? I have asked myself that many times. People ask me a lot about why I like to read it and why I like to write it. And I think the simple answer is that I love the human in horror. I love how it deals with everyday things in an exaggerated, extraordinary way. It can help you deal with situations you might be worried about. It's a safe place to be scared. It's a safe place to get your emotions out. If you're watching a scary movie, it's just a movie. You know that. It's going to scare you. But it's a good way to get kind of your emotions out. And on the very basic level, I just like it. I think it's fun. I think it's interesting stories. I think there's so many kind of interesting ideas that you can come out with it. And yeah, that's my answer. I think there's so many different genres in horror, and I think that there's a genre for everybody, to be honest. I think sometimes people see horror and they think of like Saw or like gore or blood. I don't like gore very much. I will watch some movies that have gore in it, but it's not my favorite. You have psychological horror, where there might not even be any blood or any gore. You have body horror. You have like so much different subgenres in horror that I do believe there's something for everybody. So there you go. That's why I love it. I would love for you to do the horror life tag. Please tell me in the comments if you do it so I can watch your videos. There's so many cool ones on YouTube that I have watched and I've loved. Thank you guys, everybody, for doing them. And I will link all the ones that I've watched and all the ones, of course, the original one in the description of this so you can see it. And please subscribe to this channel if you want more horror content, writer content, query content, self-published content, all the content. And please like this video if you have loved the horror life tag. Let's see if I put this one up. Hopefully I will. There's my daughter again. I need to go. I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.